So in the last video, you saw how I created methods right within my main program. So the main program was called quadratic. And then I had some methods like Israel, determinant that returned the determinant, and toString that took in A, B, and C and the number of solutions and converted the answer to a string, then had the main program. But now what I'm going to show you is how you can write a class. So the difference between methods, which are just these little mini parts of programs that will take in information called parameters and return information, and put them all in one big class. So all things that are quadratic equation like will go into this class. So I wrote this class called quad equation. And now I have to set it up. And you can see in your handout that I gave you the kind of the general format for how you would create a class and why you would create a class. But here I'm just going to show you some of the features and the behaviors of this class. So it does the same thing as those little methods did, only there's some new stuff in there. So first I want to show you the methods haven't changed much. I still have Israel, but now I have a new method called Israel that doesn't take any parameters at all that I'll be able to use. And then I still have toString that takes in 4 integers and converts that to a string. But I also have a new toString method that I call with a capital T, and that's going to essentially do exactly the same thing, only notice that it's a little bit more succinct. So this is called a class. You'll notice there's no main in here. There's nothing that says main. And the one that you see here is different than the one that you're getting in your key-in, because my hope is that you'll struggle with a few things and realize that you need, out of need, you'll write some of these. But if not, you can always come back and take a look at this, and I'll make sure that it's available to you. So first of all, I can't run this program. I can compile it to make sure that it compiles, but there's really nothing to run because there is no main. So once I've written this class and I've tried to think about all the behaviors and things that I'd like for a quadratic equation, I go and write a test program. So I call my test program Test Quads because I thought it was a cool name. And notice that this is just a teeny tiny little program with a main section. And so here I'm just going to test, and this is one of your first assignments, is you have to write a test program for the class quad equation that I wrote that's kind of incomplete currently. So I'm hoping that you realize there's a need to add to it. So I wrote this. So the first thing I do is I instantiate a couple of objects, and what that means is I create a couple of I'll call them variables for the time being that have a type instead of int or string or something that we're used to. The type is quad equation, which matches up with my class quad equation. And so I called one Q1, and this is how you initialize it. So new quadratic equation is me initializing Q1. And then I have Q2, which is the same thing, only here I've sent over parameters. So what I'm doing in these two lines is I'm testing my constructors. So I'm going to have you look at these two lines. This is in my test program. We'll go back over to the class and notice that when a programmer instantiates an object that's type is quad equation, they can either send no parameters, in which case A, B, and C will all be 1. So x squared plus x plus 1. Or they can send over A, B, and C, which is what I'm doing that second time when I'm sending over some actual values. And notice that A, B, and C are capitalized. These are my quadratic variables for the class. But when the user sent them over, I took them in as small letters, and then I just told the program that that's what A, B, and C were going to be. And then I go back to my test program, and now I want to test out some of those methods. So these are the features. This sets up the features of the quadratic, and now the behavior is going to be tested out here. So first of all is real. So that returns a Boolean. If you go back here, is real takes in three integers and returns a true or a false. Otherwise, you can use the Israel function. Here I overrode it. It's called overriding a method. And I overrode it so that if they simply just put in the test program q1.israel, it'll go and it'll take A, B, and C for q1, which are 1, 1, and 1 in this case. Same thing here. So that is how I might go about starting to test some of these things and see if they work. And that is how classes and methods kind of fit together. So I just created one big Gigantor class with all things quadratic in it. It has some features and it has some behaviors, and hopefully once you start working on it, you'll see where it's flawed and be able to make those changes. See the next video for more information.